I never thought much about luck. Didn't believe in it. Luck was for gamblers and dreamers, the kind of people who bought scratch-offs and spent their rent money on horse races. I was a mechanic. My world ran on busted transmissions, oil changes, and the familiar hum of engines that had seen better days. Hard work, not luck, put food on my table. But my mother, she believed. "You've got to have faith, James," she said, pressing a crumpled 20 into my palm. "This week's numbers feel right." I rolled my eyes but took the cash, if only to humor her. I grabbed a ticket at the gas station on my way home, tossed it on the counter, and didn't think about it again. Until the numbers hit. Until I woke up with $120 million to my name. The town of Red Falls didn't know what to do with a newly minted millionaire. Word spread faster than wildfire. By noon, the phones at Carter's Auto Repair wouldn't stop ringing. Old customers, long-lost cousins, even the mayor, all eager to congratulate me. By 3, a local news crew showed up, asking how it felt to go from grease-stained work shirts to generational wealth. By 6, half the town was waiting for me at Ringo's bar, ready to celebrate. The beer flowed like water. My closest friends, my crew, Ethan, my best friend since grade school, and Lauren, my fiancée, stayed by my side, raising their glasses to my hard-earned luck. To James Carter, the luckiest son of a bitch in Red Falls, Ethan toasted, his grin wide. To a man who deserves every damn penny. Glasses clinked. Cheers erupted. Lauren leaned in close, her hand trailing down my arm. "Baby," she purred, her breath warm against my ear. "We need to start planning. I already have ideas." I laughed. Planning. We just won the thing. We. The word felt strange on my tongue. She smiled, but something flickered in her eyes. "Oh, honey, this is just the beginning." She pulled out her phone, scrolling through an endless list. I found some properties in Miami and a penthouse in New York. I pulled back, amused. "Slow down, babe. I still live in a 2-bedroom house above my shop." Lauren's perfect red lips curled into a laugh. "Exactly my point. We should be thinking bigger." Ethan clapped me on the back. "Don't let her drown you in champagne dreams, man. You're still you." I nodded. Damn right. Because money or not, I was still the same guy who spent my days under a car hood, the same guy who worked 60-hour weeks to keep my mother's house paid off. And no amount of money would change that. The celebration stretched into the early hours. I lost count of how many drinks were bought in my name, how many hands slapped my back, how many people I barely knew pretended to be lifelong friends. Then Victor Langley walked in. The room dimmed a little. Victor wasn't Red Falls rich, he was old money rich. The kind of guy who owned half the real estate in town, the kind who could make or break businesses with a handshake, a suit so sharp it could cut glass. "James," he called, a snake's smile on his lips. "Congratulations." I forced a polite nod. "Victor." The whole bar went quieter. People watched as he approached, his polished leather shoes out of place against the scuffed wooden floor. He extended a hand. I took it, maybe a little too firmly. "I have to admit, I never saw you as the lottery-winning type," he mused, eyes cold. "Hard work was always more your style." Ethan tensed beside me. "You here to toast him or to piss on his shoes?" Victor chuckled, unbothered. "Just offering my services." He pulled a sleek business card from his pocket, sliding it onto the bar. "Langley Holdings. Private investments. Luxury development. See, James, wealth comes with responsibility," he continued, his voice smooth. "People will come knocking. They'll want handouts, business loans, charity. If you don't handle it right, you'll be broke in 5 years." I raised an eyebrow. "And you're here to make sure that doesn't happen?" "Let's just say I have experience." His gaze flicked to Lauren, lingering a second too long. "A man in your position needs the right kind of people around him." Lauren straightened, smoothing her dress. "That's exactly what I've been telling him." We need to be smart. Something in her tone made my stomach tighten. Ethan scoffed. Yeah, I'm sure Victor's got your best interests at heart. Victor ignored him, fixing his gaze on me. Think about it. I didn't take the card. The night ended with promises of celebrations, toasts to the future, drunken hugs from people who'd never cared about me before today. Lauren excused herself to the restroom, clutching her designer purse. In her haste, she didn't notice the business card Victor had slipped inside earlier. I helped her into the car, her body soft against mine, her lips brushing my cheek as she murmured, "I love you, baby. Our future is going to be incredible." I smiled. I believed her. Ethan, standing by the curb, watched us drive away, his expression unreadable. "I've got a bad feeling about this," he muttered. But the roar of my truck's engine drowned out his words. I thought I had everything I ever wanted. I had no idea how quickly it would all fall apart. They say money changes people. I didn't want to believe it. But as the weeks passed, I started noticing things, small at first, like tiny cracks in a windshield before the whole damn thing shatters. Lauren spent more time on her phone, barely looking up when I spoke. Our nights, once filled with lazy conversations and shared beers on the porch, turned into her researching real estate in cities I'd never even set foot in. Ethan grew distant, his usual easy grin replaced with something guarded. And Victor? He kept popping up. Always friendly. Always helpful. Always smiling like a snake sizing up a rabbit. I wanted to ignore it. I tried. Instead, I focused on what I could control. I met with lawyers, financial planners, people who could help me figure out what to do with my money. I set up a trust for my mom, put some into investments, even started sketching out ideas to expand Carter's auto repair into something bigger. I figured Lauren would come around. I figured Ethan was just adjusting to the change. I figured wrong. It started with my bank accounts. I walked into the bank one morning to move some funds around, only to be told, politely, almost apologetically, that my accounts had been frozen. Frozen? I frowned at the teller. What the hell does that mean? The manager was called. More polite apologies. Something about flagged transactions, pending investigations, an issue with joint access. I pulled up my banking app, and my stomach dropped. $120 million. Gone. I barely noticed the way my hands curled into fists, the way my jaw locked so tight my teeth ached. I had one joint account, with Lauren. The bank manager cleared his throat. Your fiancée made a significant transfer. The room spun. Excuse me. She transferred the funds yesterday afternoon. He hesitated. To a private offshore account. Lauren. Lauren took my money. I pushed back from the desk, my chair scraping the tile. I barely heard the manager's nervous explanation, something about legal documents, signed agreements, things I sure as hell never signed. I was out the door before he could finish. I drove home too fast. Skidded into the driveway. The front door was unlocked. Lauren sat on the couch, dressed in silk, scrolling through her phone like she didn't have a care in the world. She barely looked up when I stormed in. We need to talk. My voice was too even, too calm for the rage burning inside me. Can't it wait? She held up her phone, flashing the screen. I'm talking to a real estate agent about a property in Miami. I grabbed the phone out of her hand and threw it across the room. It hit the wall with a satisfying crack. Lauren gasped, her eyes widening. What the hell, James? I clenched my fists to keep from doing something worse. What the hell did you do to my bank account? For a second, just a second, something flickered in her expression. Then she sighed and crossed her arms, like she was bored. You need to calm down. Calm down. My laugh was sharp, humorless. You stole from me. She arched a perfect brow. Stole is such an ugly word. I took a step closer, my voice low. Then what would you call it? Lauren held my gaze. Smart. Everything inside me went cold. I moved the money, she said smoothly, as if we were discussing a dinner reservation. Because I knew you'd waste it. Blowing it on that stupid garage of yours, throwing it at your small-town buddies like some kind of charity case. My stupid garage, I repeated. Yes, James, your stupid garage. She sighed again, exasperated. You don't understand how the world works. This kind of money, it's not meant for people like you. You don't know how to handle it. I could barely breathe. You never asked, I said. My voice was too calm, too controlled. You never talked to me. You just. I did what was necessary. I stared at her, at the woman I'd planned to marry, at the woman I thought I knew. And I saw her for the first time. Not as my fiancée. Not as the girl I'd once loved. But as the opportunist she really was. You were never going to marry me, were you? She didn't even flinch. I swallowed the rage threatening to choke me. Was any of it real? Lauren rolled her eyes. Oh, don't be dramatic, James. I liked you. You were fun. But let's be honest. You were never going to be enough for me. There it was. The truth, sharp and clean. I should have felt something. Anger, heartbreak, betrayal. Instead, I just felt cold. Lauren stepped closer, reaching for my hand. Listen, baby. This is for the best. Victor has. Victor. His name hit me like a gunshot. I jerked my hand away. You worked with Victor Langley to steal from me. Her expression barely changed. Victor helped me, she corrected, voice smooth as silk. He knows how to handle money. And honestly, baby, she gave me a small, pitying smile. You don't. I laughed. I actually laughed. Sharp, bitter, empty. Lauren sighed, as if I was the unreasonable one. Don't look at me like that, James. You should be thanking me. Thanking you. Yes, she said patiently. Because if you fight this, if you go against Victor, you'll lose more than just money. Her meaning was clear. Victor had people, power, influence, and if I fought back, I'd be crushed before I even had a chance to fight. She stepped back, smoothing her dress. I'll be moving out tomorrow. You can keep the house, though I doubt you'll be able to afford it for long. I didn't move. Didn't say a word. Just stood there as Lauren, the woman I was supposed to marry, walked out of my life with my money in her pocket. I drove to Ethan's place next. My best friend. My brother in everything but blood. He'd know what to do. But when he opened the door, his expression wasn't one of surprise. It was one of guilt. My stomach dropped. I stepped inside. Tell me you didn't know. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. James. I took another step forward. Tell me you didn't know. He swallowed hard and didn't say a word. That was the moment I knew. It wasn't just Lauren. Ethan had betrayed me too. I walked out of Ethan's house with nothing left. No money, no fiancé, no best friend. They thought they had won. They had no idea what was coming. I disappeared. Not literally. To the rest of Red Falls, it looked like I was just another dumbass lottery winner who crashed and burned. A cautionary tale whispered in bars and barbershops. Poor James Carter. Made millions. Lost everything. Lauren and Ethan were thriving in my absence. Victor Langley, their new benefactor, made sure of that. Lauren traded our quiet nights for champagne-fueled parties. She moved into a high-rise apartment downtown, draped in designer brands she used to only dream about. The kind of life she always wanted, the kind she never thought I was good enough for. Ethan, my best friend. Hell, my brother, was now Victor's right-hand man, playing the role of a self-made businessman with money that wasn't his. They laughed about me at private clubs and high-end restaurants, telling anyone who'd listen how I blew my shot. They thought I was broken. They thought I was gone. They were wrong. I spent those weeks in the background, watching, learning, planning. The thing about growing up in a town like Red Falls, you know everyone. And more importantly, you know where the skeletons are buried. I knew Victor had made his fortune on dirty deals, buying land on the cheap, using bribes to push permits through City Hall, screwing over people who couldn't fight back. I knew Ethan had debts, gambling, women, business ventures that never made it past the bar napkin stage. And Lauren, her greed was already alienating the very people she was trying to impress. People talked. People resented. And I listened. So I started building. Not an empire. Not yet. A network. I found the people Victor had screwed over. I found the men Ethan owed money to. I found anyone who had been burned by them, cast aside, discarded like they didn't matter. I gave them a reason to fight. And then I took the first swing. It started with a leak. A journalist in the next town over, a woman named Maggie Tran, had been sniffing around Victor Langley for years. Everyone knew his developments were dirty, but no one could prove it. Until now. I sent her a file. Real estate transactions, land deals pushed through City Hall too fast, a list of bribes made to certain officials, all neatly packaged, all undeniable. And just to sweeten the pot, I threw in a name. Ethan Dawson, Victor's newest prodigy. It didn't take long. The article hit 2 days later. Local DEVELOPER, under SCRUTINOI, for shady land deals. Victor's name was all over it. So was Ethan's. Lauren's too. The bank accounts, the transactions, the way my money had been funneled into Victor's companies. I could imagine the look on their faces when they saw the headline. The town started talking. People whispered in coffee shops. Were the rumors true? Had Victor stolen from people? Had he bribed the city council? Was Ethan just another pawn? Victor tried to get ahead of it. He called it a hit piece, a smear campaign. But the damage was done. People stopped taking his calls. Banks started looking closer. Investors hesitated. And I wasn't done. Strike 2. Ethan's debts. While he played the role of Victor's golden boy, he was still the same reckless gambler. Still owed money to people who weren't the forgiving type. So I bought the debt, every last dollar. The collectors Ethan had been dodging. The ones he begged for more time. They answered to me now. I called in everything. He woke up to an empty bank account. His credit cards, frozen. His car, repossessed. Panic set in. I knew because I was watching. Knew because he tried calling me. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent him a text. Enjoying the money you stole. Hope you saved some. He didn't reply. But I knew. Lauren's fall came next. She lived for appearances. For the parties, the status, the money. So I started taking that away. I paid a woman named Claire Hastings, a local socialite, well-connected, well-liked, to start spreading rumors. That Lauren wasn't really rich. That she was just a lucky gold digger who scammed her ex-fiancé out of his winnings. At first, people dismissed it. Then the article about Victor hit. Then Ethan's money troubles became public. And suddenly, Lauren wasn't exclusive. She was embarrassing. Invites stopped coming. People stopped answering her calls. And then, I sent her a gift. A single $20 lottery ticket. No note. No explanation. She must have known. Because 2 days later, she tried calling me too. I didn't answer. Victor was the last piece. His investors were bailing. His projects were stalling. Then I hit him where it hurt the most. I made sure the IRS took a closer look. Nothing sends a rich man into a tailspin faster than a federal audit. The moment they opened an investigation, his world started burning. His business partners grew nervous. His lawyers started scrambling. And me. I watched. I waited. And when I was sure he was drowning, I made my next move. They thought they were untouchable. Victor, Ethan, and Lauren had taken everything from me. My money, my future, my trust. They left me for dead, assuming I'd slink away, just another fool who couldn't handle his fortune. They were wrong. I wasn't just coming back. I was coming for them. And the first move, I was going to make them bleed. The IRS investigation had rattled Victor. Publicly, he downplayed it. Privately, he was scrambling. I knew because I had eyes everywhere. Leon Wallace, one of my newest allies, a former accountant who Victor had cheated out of a real estate deal years ago, was feeding me everything. I sat across from Leon in a diner outside town, sipping coffee as he laid it out. His people are panicking, Leon said, voice low. His lawyers are trying to bury paperwork, move assets, anything to stop the feds from digging deeper. I smirked. Let them scramble. We're just getting started. Leon slid a flash drive across the table. This is what you wanted. The offshore accounts. The fake LLCs. The bribery payments to city officials. My fingers curled around it. This was the knife. And I was about to start cutting. Step 1. The media bomb. Maggie Tran, the journalist who published the first piece about Victor, was more than happy to take another tip. I gave her everything. Wire transfers, shell companies, emails tying Victor to illegal zoning permits, tax fraud, and campaign contributions. She called me the next day. This is huge, James. It's not just corruption. It's a criminal empire. I only said one thing. Make it public. 2 days later, the headline hit. Red Ifeals Mogul under federal investigation. Corruption. And FRABDALLEGATIONS Face. Victor's face was plastered across news stations, his name dragged through every media outlet in the state. By noon, investors started pulling out. By evening, board members were meeting behind his back. And by the next morning, his stock was plummeting. I could already see the cracks forming. Step 2. The financial collapse. While Victor was distracted trying to put out media fires, I took my next shot. I had slowly, quietly been buying up shares in his real estate holdings under multiple shell companies. And now, I owned enough stock to start making moves. At exactly 3:00 p.m., Victor got the news. A hostile takeover attempt. New investors, anonymous, faceless, were sweeping in, buying everything, forcing a boardroom coup. Leon texted me. He's losing control. Good. I wanted him to feel helpless. I wanted him to feel like the world was slipping through his fingers. Because it was. Step 3. Ethan's reckoning. While Victor was drowning, Ethan was about to get hit head-on. His gambling debts had caught up. His credit lines were dead. His bank accounts were empty. But I wasn't done. I made sure he lost his job too. Victor's company, his only source of money, was imploding. And when a major deal fell through because of the fraud allegations, Ethan was the first to get cut. The way I saw it, Victor was saving me the trouble. Step 4. Lauren's social suicide. Lauren thrived on appearances. She built her world on being admired, envied, worshipped. So I made sure to take that away. The rumors Claire Hastings had been spreading. They started catching fire. People talked. Friends avoided her calls. Then came the biggest humiliation. Lauren showed up at an exclusive charity gala, one of those black tie events she used to dream about. Except this time, the guest list had changed. The moment she walked in, the host, a powerful socialite, had her escorted out, in front of everyone. She tried to argue, to play innocent, to charm her way back in. But the host just smiled and said, "We don't associate with thieves." That moment, it broke her. Step 5. The first warning. I waited until Victor was at his lowest, until his world was falling apart. Then, I made contact. 10:32 p.m. Victor sat alone in his office, whiskey in hand, the city lights casting shadows across his face. He looked tired, stressed, beaten, and when his phone rang, he picked up immediately. Who is this? Silence. Then, my voice. Low, steady, unforgiving. You took something from me, Victor. I could hear his breath hitch. James, he said, voice carefully controlled. I was wondering when you'd show up. You thought I'd disappear. I continued, ignoring him. You thought you could take what was mine and walk away. Victor chuckled. Forced. Weak. Come on, James. It's just money. No, I said. It was my trust. And now, I'm taking everything from you. A pause. Then, for the first time, his voice shook. What do you want? I smiled. I don't want anything. Then why? I just wanted to hear you realize you were losing. Silence. You took my money. I said slowly, letting every word sink in. You used my best friend to betray me. You used the woman I loved. You made me think I was powerless. Victor swallowed audibly. I leaned closer to the receiver. But you forgot one thing. A beat. Then I whispered the words that would haunt him for the rest of the night. I know how to build things. I let the silence stretch. Let him feel it. Then I delivered the final blow. And I know exactly how to tear them down. Click. Call ended. A house doesn't collapse in one blow. It crumbles, piece by piece. And as I watched Victor Langley's empire, Ethan Dawson's reputation, and Lauren's social standing begin to disintegrate, I knew I wasn't just destroying them. I was dismantling them. Slowly, methodically, completely. Victor's breaking point. The headlines weren't going away. The IRS wasn't backing off. The feds were digging deeper, and his own people, the ones who once worshipped him, were now looking for a way out. I made sure of it. 9:00 a.m., Victor's office. His secretary, a woman named Lillian, entered his office with shaking hands. Sir, she started hesitantly. There's a situation. Victor pinched the bridge of his nose. Another one. The investors, his last remaining investors. They're pulling out. Victor looked up. Stared. What? She swallowed. Langley Holdings lost 3 more financial backers overnight. They're setting. She hesitated, glancing at the newspaper on his desk. The bolded headline read, QOREPTYN, GURIBRI, and FRAT, Langley Holdings on the edgy. Victor slammed his fist on the desk. This is a witch hunt. I don't know, sir, Lillian said carefully, but the board is meeting today. Without you. Victor's eyes darkened. That's when he knew. They were turning on him. Ethan loses everything. Victor was falling. Ethan. He was already on the ground. And I wasn't done kicking him. 1:30 p.m. The country club. Ethan sat at a table, a glass of whiskey in his hand, pretending he wasn't spiraling. Across from him sat 3 men, his last chance at survival. They were investors, men who once saw potential in Ethan, men who still believed he was worth something. They were wrong. And I made sure they knew it. As they were talking, one of them, Grant Lawson, an old money real estate mogul, received an email. The moment he opened it, his face changed. The email contained debt records, wire transfers, proof that Ethan had been using stolen money from Victor's illegal accounts to fund his own deals. Ethan saw the look on Grant's face. Something wrong? He asked. Grant didn't answer. He just turned his phone toward Ethan. Ethan went pale. Where the hell did you get this? He demanded. Grant's jaw tightened. You lied to us. Ethan shook his head. This is a setup. Someone's framing me. This is your account. Grant cut him off. Your name. Your transactions. There's no way out of this. He pushed back his chair. We're done here. The other investors followed. Ethan sat alone, his career in ruins. His phone buzzed. A text. UMBR. Hope you saved some of that money. You're going to need it. He knew it was me. And I knew he was panicking. Lauren's social execution. Lauren's world wasn't built on business. It was built on appearances. And when people stop looking at you, when they stop caring, it's worse than any financial loss. That's why I took her status before I took anything else. 6:00 p.m. The Red Falls Gala. Lauren arrived wearing a $10,000 dress. She smiled at the cameras, soaking in the attention, oblivious to what was coming. The first sign that something was wrong. The way people stopped greeting her. Normally, she'd be swarmed with socialites, influencers, and Red Falls elite. But tonight, they whispered. They avoided eye contact. She didn't understand. Not yet. Then came the final blow. Claire Hastings, the queen bee of Red Falls high society, walked toward her. Lauren smiled. "Claire, I was hoping we'd." Claire cut her off with a single sentence. "You don't belong here." Lauren froze. "What?" Claire tilted her head. "We don't associate with people who scam their way into wealth." Lauren's smile vanished. "That's not true, isn't it?" Claire raised an eyebrow. "Victor's empire is collapsing. Ethan's broke. And you?" She looked her up and down. "You have nothing." Lauren laughed. A high forced sound. "This is ridiculous." "Is it?" Claire gestured around the room. "Look around, Lauren. No one's backing you anymore. You're not one of us." And then, humiliation. One by one, the guests turned away. Lauren stood there, alone. It was worse than an insult. It was erasure. The phone call that changed everything. That night, my phone rang. I answered. Victor's voice was tired. "You win," he said. I smiled. "No, Victor. I haven't even started. You've destroyed my company. You've turned everyone against me. What more do you want?" I let the silence stretch. Then I said, "Everything." The fall of Victor Langley wasn't quiet. It was loud, violent, messy. Like an old building collapsing from within, his empire crumbled piece by piece, floor by floor. And I made sure everyone watched. 9:14 a.m., Victor's office. Victor Langley prided himself on being unshakable, the kind of man who never lost. But when his assistant, Claire, rushed into his office that morning, panic in her eyes, he knew something was very, very wrong. "You need to see this," she said, breathless, shoving a tablet onto his desk. Victor stared at the screen. LAGDNEWSBROADCAST. Developing story. New evidence suggests Red Falls real estate mogul Victor Langley engaged in bribery, tax fraud, and illegal land acquisitions. Documents leaked to multiple news outlets confirm the allegations. The anchor kept talking. But Victor wasn't listening anymore. His face paled. He snatched the tablet, scrolling through the report. Emails, bank transactions, internal memos, everything. It was all out there. Exposed. The feds had already been sniffing around. Now they had enough evidence to rip him apart. This isn't possible," Victor muttered, gripping the edges of his desk. "Sir," Claire swallowed, looking queasy. "The board wants an emergency meeting." There. The phone rang. Victor answered without thinking. "Langley," he barked. A cold, familiar voice greeted him. "Morning, Victor." Silence. Then, "You sound nervous." Victor's jaw clenched. "James." I chuckled softly. "I thought you'd appreciate a wake-up call." Victor exhaled sharply. "You son of a..." "Careful," I warned, voice sharp. "You still think you can fix this, don't you?" Victor gritted his teeth. "I don't know what kind of game you're playing, Carter, but..." "Oh, it's not a game," I cut in smoothly. "Not anymore." I let a pause stretch. Let him feel it. Then, I dropped the hammer. "Your company is under federal investigation. Your investors are leaving. Your own board is about to throw you to the wolves. You're done, Victor." The line went dead silent. Then, I heard something I'd never expected from him. His breath hitched. I had him. He knew it. I knew it. I smirked. See you at the bottom. I hung up. 10:30 a.m. Lauren's breaking point. Lauren was drowning. The social circles she used to rule had turned cold. The parties. No more invites. The designers. No more free gifts. And today was the final nail in her coffin. Lauren strutted into Harrison & Co. boutique, head held high, designer purse swinging. She barely glanced at the store clerk. "I have an order for pickup," she said, already scrolling through her phone. The girl at the counter hesitated. Miss Arias." Lauren sighed. "Obviously." The girl winced. "Your account. It's been declined." Lauren froze. "What?" "We tried processing payment." The girl continued, visibly uncomfortable. "But your card was declined." Lauren laughed, as if the idea was absurd. She pulled out another card, sliding it across the counter. The girl swiped it. Beep. Declined. Lauren's stomach dropped. "This is ridiculous," she hissed, shoving another card forward. Beep. Declined. Heat crept up her neck. People were watching now. The girl at the register cleared her throat, lowering her voice. "Miss Arias, all your accounts are frozen." Lauren's hands shook. Victor had promised her financial security. Ethan had promised her protection. But now, they had nothing left to give her. The weight of it settled in her chest. She stumbled out of the boutique, humiliated. And for the first time, she realized she was completely alone. 1:00 p.m. Ethan's collapse. Ethan had always lived on borrowed time. Borrowed money. Borrowed luck. Borrowed friendships. He never thought about consequences. Until today. He was sitting at Victor's private club, sipping bourbon, trying to ignore the sinking feeling in his gut when his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He frowned and answered. "Yeah." Silence. Then, "You've got 24 hours, Dawson." Ethan's stomach dropped. He sat up, his chair scraping against the polished floor. "Who is this?" A low chuckle. "You know exactly who." Then the line clicked off. His blood ran cold. The debt collectors. The ones I had bought out. His hand shook as he fumbled for his wallet. Empty. He grabbed his phone, opening his bank app. $0, AVALABLE, balance. Ethan choked on air. I had drained him. Every last penny. He shot up from his chair, heart pounding, scanning the room for Victor. But Victor was gone, and Ethan was next. 4:00 p.m., the final meeting. The Langley Enterprises boardroom had never been this quiet. Victor sat at the head of the table, sweating. His top investors, lawyers, and senior executives stared at him with thinly veiled contempt. "Victor," one of them said coldly, "you're a liability. This company is in free fall," another snapped. Victor shook his head. "I can fix this." The board exchanged glances. Then, the chairman sighed. "No, you can't." Victor froze. "The board has voted to remove you as CEO, effective immediately." The words hit like a gunshot. Victor's jaw clenched. "You can't do this." The chairman leaned forward. "Actually, we can." Victor's heart pounded. He had no control. No leverage. No power. His empire had been ripped out from under him. By me. 11:47 p.m., Victor's lowest point. He sat in his dark, empty office. A bottle of whiskey. Papers strewn across the floor. His entire world gone. His phone buzzed. He didn't need to look to know who it was. He answered. Silence. Then my voice. "How does it feel?" Victor's fingers clenched around the glass. "You think this is over?" I chuckled. "Oh, Victor. You're still not getting it, are you?" I let the moment breathe. Then I whispered. This wasn't the end. A pause. This was just the warm-up. I hung up. Victor stared at the phone. Then, for the first time in his life, he felt fear, the thing about tearing someone down. You have to make sure they never get back up. Victor, Ethan, and Lauren had lost everything. Their wealth, their power, their reputations, but there was still one last move to make. Because I didn't just want to ruin them. I wanted them to feel it. Every single day. 8:00 p.m. The warehouse meeting. The abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town was the kind of place where deals went bad. Rusted beams, shattered windows, the air thick with the smell of old oil and regret. It was perfect. I stood near the center, hands in my pockets, waiting. Victor arrived first. His once perfect suit was wrinkled, his shoes scuffed. He looked older, smaller, like the weight of the last few weeks had finally crushed him. Ethan came next. He had bags under his eyes, a bruise along his jaw, probably from one of the men he owed money to. Lauren was last. She walked in slow, arms crossed over her chest like a shield. No makeup, no designer clothes, just Lauren. The real one, not the carefully curated version she used to fool people. For the first time, they weren't pretending. They knew why they were here. I let the silence drag. Then I said the magic words. Sign these, and you walk away. I tossed a folder onto the table. 3 sets of papers. Victor barely glanced at his before scoffing. You think I'm just going to roll over? I smiled. You already have. His nostrils flared. What the hell are these? Contracts. I took a step forward, slow, deliberate. Sign them, and you'll stay out of my way. No rebuilding, no comeback, no running to lawyers. You take what's left of your dignity and disappear. Ethan grabbed his copy, flipping through it, his brow furrowing. This says I give up everything. Because you are. I watched as reality set in. The properties, the bank accounts, the remaining assets that hadn't been frozen or seized, all transferred to me. Lauren shook her head, bitter laughter spilling out. You want to leave us with nothing. You left me with nothing. Her eyes flashed. I didn't. Shut up, Lauren. My voice came out sharper than I intended, but I didn't regret it. You made your choice. All of you did. And now you're going to live with it. Ethan's hand shook as he picked up the pen. He was cracking first, no surprise. He never had a spine to begin with. Victor, though, he was still clinging to the last shred of power he thought he had. You think you won, he said, voice low. But you're just a mechanic with a lucky ticket. You have no idea how this world works. I leaned in, and yet here we are. His jaw clenched. I gestured to the papers. Sign them, Victor, before I decide to drag this out even longer. He exhaled sharply. And if I refuse? I tilted my head. Then I'll take what little you have left. Legally, of course. Victor's fingers curled into fists. His pride was bleeding out right in front of me. I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Then, slowly, he picked up the pen. And he signed. Lauren followed, silent and seething. I took the contracts, flipping through them quickly. Everything was mine now. Every last piece. I met their eyes one last time. We're done here. Ethan swallowed. That's it. I smiled. Oh no, not even close. 11:30 p.m. The final blow. The contracts were just step 1. Step 2. Making sure they never forgot what they lost. Victor received an official notice the next morning. Langley Enterprises was dissolved. His empire legally erased. He tried calling lawyers, but none would take his case. He tried reaching out to investors, but they wouldn't even pick up. His name had become toxic. The real kicker? I had one of my contacts buy out his mansion, the home he had built brick by brick, deal by deal, and I turned it into low-income housing, a symbol of everything he used to be. Victor left town 2 days later. He didn't say goodbye. Ethan got it worse. After signing everything over, he tried to run. But his debts didn't disappear. The collectors, the ones I had bought out. I sent them a message. Ethan was off limits, but that didn't mean they wouldn't make his life a living hell. He ended up working at a dive bar just outside the city. The same guy who once laughed at me for wanting to run a repair shop now spent his nights mopping floors and serving cheap whiskey. Fitting. And Lauren didn't leave town. She couldn't. She had nowhere to go. No money. No status. She tried dating up, latching onto anyone with wealth. But the moment her past came up, doors shut. People saw her for what she really was. She ended up in a cheap apartment on the outskirts of town, working retail. She tried calling me. Twice. I never answered. I never would. 2:00 a.m., one last call. I was in my new office, Victor's old one, now mine. The city skyline stretched beyond the window, glowing under the weight of everything I had taken back. My phone rang. I already knew who it was. Detective Yvette Parks. I picked up. "You've been busy," she said, voice smooth as ever. I leaned back, just settling accounts. "You took them apart." I smirked. "Legally." She sighed. For now. I knew what she was implying. That I'd pushed the line. That she was still watching. "Relax, detective," I said. "My hands are clean." She let the silence stretch. Then, "You get everything right, James. But tell me something." I waited. "Did it make you feel better?" I looked out the window. At the empire I had built from the wreckage. At the names that would never haunt me again. At the justice I had served. Then I smiled. And I hung up. Winning felt good. But I hadn't just been after revenge. I didn't burn Victor, Ethan, and Lauren to the ground just to stand in the wreckage and gloat. No. I wanted to build something better. Because true power, true wealth, it wasn't about taking. It was about creating. 10:00 a.m., the Carter Foundation. A year ago, I was a mechanic barely scraping by. Now, I stood in the center of my headquarters, the Carter Foundation. What had once been Victor's luxury corporate office had been gutted, rebuilt, and repurposed. No more shady land deals. No more corruption. This place had one purpose now, giving people a second chance. My team, real people, good people, bustled around me, setting up desks, organizing paperwork. They weren't businessmen in suits. They were workers. Men and women Victor had screwed over. Families who had lost everything to his greed. And now, they worked for me. Building housing projects, funding small businesses, and helping the people Red Falls had forgotten. "You're doing good work here," Margaret Cochran, my lawyer and closest advisor, said as she walked in. She placed a folder on my desk. "Finalized the acquisition for the housing development. It's yours now." I flipped through the papers. The ink on the contract was fresh, but the victory was old. It was Victor's last development, and I was turning it into affordable housing. Margaret smirked. "Poetic justice." I nodded. "Dan right." 1:00 p.m., Ethan's rock bottom. I had no reason to go looking for Ethan, but I did. Because even after everything, there was still a part of me that wondered, was he always like this? Or did the money make him into the man who betrayed me? I found him where I expected. A dive bar on the outskirts of town. No suit, no expensive watch. Just Ethan Dawson, the washed-up bartender, pouring cheap whiskey for men who didn't know or care who he used to be. I sat at the bar. He turned, saw me. And for a second, I saw it. The old Ethan. The friend who used to have my back. The guy I grew up with. Then his face twisted. "The hell are you doing here?" I shrugged. "Wanted to see how you were doing." He scoffed. "You really think I need your pity?" "No," I said. "I think you need a wake-up call." Ethan's hands tightened around the glass he was cleaning. "You ruined my life. No, Ethan. I leaned forward, voice cold. You did that. His jaw twitched. I had nothing. Victor gave me a way out. You wouldn't have done that. I laughed. I would have done anything for you. His face twisted. I made a mistake, okay? A mistake. My voice dropped lower. A mistake is forgetting to pay a bill. A mistake is missing a shift at work. What you did, that was betrayal. His shoulders slumped. I stood. You can keep blaming me. Keep blaming Victor. Keep blaming everyone but yourself. But until you own what you did, you're gonna rot in this bar forever. I turned to leave. Then I paused, and I pulled something from my pocket. A business card. I set it on the counter. Ethan glanced at it, confused. What's this? A job. I met his eyes. A real one. At the Carter Foundation. His breath hitched. I didn't wait for an answer. I walked out. Because the choice. It was his to make. 4:00 p.m. Lauren's new life. Lauren had nowhere to run. She burned every bridge, lost every connection, and had no one left to use. So now, she worked retail. At a local clothing boutique, selling designer handbags she used to own. I didn't go inside. I didn't need to. I saw her through the glass. She looked different. Not like the girl I used to love. Not like the woman who betrayed me. Just lost. She had tried to contact me. Sent me letters, messages, even stopped by my office once. I never answered. Because some people, they don't get second chances. 7:30 p.m. Victor's exile. Victor Langley left Red Falls. After losing his empire, his power, and every ounce of respect he once had, he packed up what was left of his pathetic life and disappeared. I didn't know where. I didn't care. Because no matter where he went, he knew. He would never be important again. Never be feared again. Never be anything again. And that was a fate worse than prison for a man like Victor. 11:00 p.m. A new legacy. Back at the Carter Foundation, I sat in my office, staring at the city I rebuilt. The world Victor, Ethan, and Lauren tried to steal from me. It was mine now. But the difference, I wasn't hoarding it. I was giving it back. I thought revenge would be enough. That taking them down, stripping them of everything, would satisfy me. But this was better. My mother always told me. True power isn't about what you take. It's about what you build. I finally understood what she meant. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't looking back. I was looking forward. And the future, it was mine to create. I didn't just win. I built something worth winning for.